I guess the overall concept of this idea and this project itself was generally was based off of a Carvana, if you guys know what I'm talking about, parking garage. There's one in Kansas City. This company Carvana, it's a delivery car dealership. They'll deliver cars to you if you order them, essentially. And where they store them on their dealership lots, they have this massive integrated tower where they'll drive their car in, and then this robot will basically pick them up and park them. My idea that I presented to the group was that we do that on a smaller scale, with slight variations involved with the final design. With the project as a whole, I'm very pleased with it. I think Michael's 3D printing, I think the programming, I think the design itself took a lot to do. And obviously they're going to do a lot more of the hands-on presentation than what I can from here. But guess what I'd say, what I personally did, other than orchestrating some of the work, was I did the internal mechanics. So the internal silver mechanism that you can see, I did my best to build that as functional as possible. It was relatively difficult, and I spent probably a full month just building and tearing apart and building and tearing apart, just trying to get that internal mechanism to work properly. Working closely with Michael, trying to figure out what designs would work specifically, size-wise, how big can I build my thing, how Michael's going to build the base plates and all that. Lots of tinkering, lots of things going on with that. The base plates themselves, the plywood, we cut all that out. Chase helped spray paint a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, this whole project has been nothing but trial and error, which I think that's the story for everybody. But I'd say that's the stuff I worked heavily on, at least that I can talk about, and I guess I'll let Michael or Clayton pick up from here.
Go ahead, Michael.
So I did the bulk of the programming for it. We decided to go with the Arduino Mega because it's what I have the most experience with using. So with the parking garage, we used 3 continuous servos. One to spin the base down here, one to raise and lower the middle mechanism. And the middle one, we don't have that one working. We had to extend out the arm for it further, but whenever we did that, the motor doesn't have enough torque to even
back.
Yeah. So we just have that unhooked right now. So it's not picking up and placing any cars, but we have every garage position programmed. So we have 3 levels, level A, B, and C, and then we have 6 columns. So on our keypad, we can press B3 and it will go on to column 3 and then raise up to level B. We had to operate it on a time basis, and so it's kind of inconsistent. We could have used stepper motors, but the stepper motors didn't have enough torque to turn the table or lift it up. So it's just programmed by seconds to get to the right position, which ends up being a little bit off every now and then.
All right.
I'll hand it off to Michael.
Almost all of our project was comprised of our 3D printed modeling. It took a little bit of time to get the designs working. Right here, if I can get it open.
Power button.
Oh.
Thank you. Let's see. This is our finished product, all done and designed in the program, and it pretty much matches exactly in the physical product. The only difference between the physical product and the designed product is I had to add a different colored piece to notify where the front of it was, so I didn't lose where I was while I was trying to orientate it. But during the printing process, we had many failures. This is just one of the few. This was the first failure, actually, that we had of all of them. And I honestly, we figured out the issue and found a solution, but we had already found multiple ways to print and get everything working. Each and every piece is separate, so it took the hardest part about this was the time constraint to get all of these pieces printed and put together all and fit perfectly.
Did you log how many hours we spent 3D printing that?
At least a month's worth.
They had the 3D printer running pretty much 24/7 for at least 3 or 4 weeks.
There were times where it ran out of material, just like last night before we all left. It is actually out of print material right now because the last print we were gonna do to show off a piece was just happened to run out. But honestly, we have a ton of pieces that we printed out that didn't really work as well. We got a whole box full of them here of multiple attempts and trial and errors. The larger bits either stopped printing halfway through or fell off of the build plate on us. Our solution to things falling off the build plate was put a small layer of glue, like from a glue stick down, and it wouldn't move at all. It pretty much did exactly what we wanted it to. I'm gonna pass it on to Alex here, and he will explain all how we put it all together.
So I also kind of want to talk about one of our problems that we had in the middle of this. We were kind of stumped on how we were going to get this middle piece to move inside, because that was the original idea, was to have, this mechanism go up and down and pull in the cars to get them out and everything. So we were having trouble figuring out how we were going to get this middle silver piece to spin. And then Brody and I, one day, were sitting here and just kind of, had an epiphany of what if we make the outside spin instead and, cut off the entirety of that spinning in the middle. And I'm not kidding when I say there's literally just a ring from a microwave in here that is helping it spin around along with the servo and the wheels. So that was one of the major things that, major problems that we had, and we kind of came up with a solution to it. Other than that, Chase, do you want to add anything in there?
Yeah, pretty much worked with you on that.
Yeah. Chase and I also worked on spray painting and putting this on this. It's just simple piece of plywood, but just organizing the circuits and everything on there to make sure they looked neat and presentable. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to pass it back to Brody to give a little conclusion to our project.
Mr. Martin, anything you need to wrap up with?
Yeah, just a few final thoughts. For one, I'd like to say thank you to you personally. You, Ballinger, Mr. Brown, you guys have been phenomenal these last 2 years. If it wasn't for you guys, everything in this room right now would not be possible. You guys have been great. My team's been great. Obviously, I know this isn't exactly like it's not exactly working as properly as it should, but I do believe with time it would have. I think this was just maybe just a little bit more than I think we intended to, but it is what it is. Like I said, we all worked really hard, and like Michael said, up until the last day. I mean, apparently last night we were literally trying to print off another piece just to put it together just a little bit more. So I'm happy. I'm proud. Everybody there should be proud, and we're all appreciative of everything else the teachers have done for us too.